You know, it's funny how the things that are supposed to bring us the most comfort can sometimes become the source of our absolute worst fears. We got a story from a subscriber, Sahil, and wow, it's a chilling reminder of how a familiar, gentle melody can twist into pure terror. Let's get into his story.
And this is where Sahil's story really kicks off, with this one single haunting sentence. A lullaby, something that's all about safety and love, became his own personal nightmare. And in this explainer, you're going to find out exactly how that happened. So picture this. It's 3:30 in the morning. A young man, Same, is just staring into a mirror, and he's singing a kid's lullaby, Chanda hai tu, mera suraj hai tu, which means, you are the moon, you are my sun. His friends, including our storyteller Sahil, are just standing there, watching, totally frozen in fear. So how on earth did a fun road trip with friends end up like this?
To really understand the horror of that moment, we have to go back to the beginning. See, this trip to Manali, it wasn't just some random vacation. It was more like an intervention. Sahil and his buddies Chirag and Arun, they planned this whole thing for one person and one reason, to help their friend Samai.
You see, just a few months before, Same's younger brother was killed in a car accident, and Same, who was always the life of the party, he just became withdrawn, quiet. Grief has a way of hollowing you out, right? It leaves you vulnerable in ways you don't even see. This trip, it was their attempt to try and bring their friend back.
So, for the first few days, everything was going great. On their third day in Manali, the friends decided, hey, let's drive up to the Rohtang Pass. It's supposed to be beautiful. But as they were leaving the hotel, the receptionist gave them a pretty weird piece of advice.
He warned them, make sure you're back before 6 p.m. And when they asked him why, he told them that in the local language, Rohtang literally means Valley of Death. He told them this local legend. For centuries, anyone caught on that pass after dark, well, they're found dead the next day. The authorities always say it was an accident or the cold, but the locals, they believe it's a deceptive, trickster spirit.
Now, what's their reaction to this pretty ominous warning? Well, they just laughed. To them, it sounded like one of those ghost stories you tell tourists to spook them. They didn't think twice about it, piled into the car, and just headed for the pass, completely unconcerned. So after a few hours up top, they start heading back. But by now, it is pitch black. The fog is getting thicker and thicker, just blanketing this winding mountain road. And this is where things start to fall apart.
Okay, let's just break down this timeline because this is where it gets crazy. At 9:15 p.m., they see a milestone, Manali, 28 kilometers. Cool. But then, 20 minutes later, they see the exact same stone. And then, at 11 p.m., it appears again. They'd been driving for almost 2 hours, but they weren't going anywhere. They were completely and totally stuck.
But it gets so much weirder. After they saw that stone for the second time, they all started talking, trying to figure out what was going on. And that's when they realized the most impossible thing. They had all seen something sitting on that stone, but none of them had seen the same thing.
And the realization was just bone-chilling. Sahil, our narrator, he saw a man. Chirag saw a little girl holding a toy. Arun, who was driving, saw a black horse. How is that even possible at the exact same time? But Same, he didn't see anything. He just got really quiet and started repeating over and over that somebody out there needed their help.
Right when their panic is hitting its peak, Arun tells them to look straight ahead. And running right beside them, keeping perfect pace with their car at 40 kilometers an hour, is a boy, maybe 15 years old. And he's not even sprinting, he's just running, effortlessly. His face is all wounded and his clothes are caked in mud. So while everyone else is, completely freaking out, Samai just says he needs our help. He rolls down his window and just stares at the boy. Arun is frantically hitting the central lock to try and close it, but it won't work. As the figure finally starts to fall behind them, Sahil glances in the rearview mirror. The boy is standing in the middle of the road, waving, and inside the car, Samai is smiling and waving right back at him.
After that, they floored it. They finally saw a sign for Manali 16 km and got back to the hotel around 2 a.m., just completely shaken. They all agreed, let's not talk about this, and went straight to bed. But the thing is, the horror hadn't stayed on that road. It had followed them home.
At 3:30 in the morning, Sahil wakes up to the sound of singing. And there's Samai, staring at his own reflection in the dark. His eyes are bloodshot. And on his neck, there are these dark marks, almost like the grip of invisible hands. And he has this small, absolutely chilling smile on his face as he sings that innocent lullaby to himself.
The next morning, terrified, they remembered what the receptionist had warned them about, and they took Samai to a local pundit, a priest. And the second the pundit saw Samai, he knew. He told them that a malevolent spirit had taken advantage of Samai's grief. It had mimicked the soul of his dead brother to earn his trust, and then it took control.
So the pundit started a series of rituals right away. First, something called Nazar Utarna, to ward off the evil eye. Then, a cleansing exorcism known as Chad Funk, and that was followed by a formal worship ceremony, a puja. And after the puja, Samay just starts vomiting, violently. And what came out was this thick, black, strange liquid as the entity was literally forced out of him.
After the ritual, Samay was completely back to his old self. He had no memory of any of it, and today, he's totally fine. But for Sahil, the one who told us the story, the experience left a scar that's never going to fade. The entity might be gone, but the memory, the terror, that's still there. He finishes his story by saying that every single night he's haunted, not by the boy on the road, not by the man on the stone, but by the memory of his friend's face, twisted into that horrifying smile, singing a children's lullaby in a dark hotel room at 3:30 in the morning.
Right before Samai finally passed out after the exorcism, he turned to his friends, and with the most innocent, childlike expression, he asked them a question that still haunts every one of them to this day. "If I knock on your window at night, will you open it to help me?"